Hello, this is Caelan Huntress, and today I'm going to tell you 10 easy ways that naturopaths can get leads from their website. By the end of this webinar, I want you to have the tools that you need to get noticed, get called, and get new clients. I'm the creative director of a website design agency called Wellness Website Design, and we make beautiful websites for healers. And over the last few years, I've worked with a lot of naturopaths and holistic practitioners to help them rank well in Google and optimize the content on their website so that people know what to do when they get there to become new clients. And I want to show some of these tricks to you. So the first thing I want you to do during this recording is I want you to get a notebook ready. Hit pause if you need to. Get something that you can take notes on, because I'm going to give you some actionable advice that you can use to take specific steps that'll improve the conversion rate on your website. All right. Now that you got some notebooks ready, I'm going to go over what this webinar is for. This is to make your website into a marketing tool. This is probably the most expensive brochure that you own, but it's a great brochure because it's digital and you can update it anytime so that anybody who comes to it is going to see your new content. You can use your website to automate your new client acquisition so that it's easy for strangers to become customers. And what this will do is it'll allow you to focus your time and energy and attention on what you do best, which is see your patients. The more time that you can spend with a patient, the less time that you have to spend tweaking with your website. But you do have to spend some time in the beginning to set up this automation. And so let's figure out how much time that's going to be. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd like you to rate yourself on how good your website is at generating leads for your business. And go ahead and write this number down in your notebook. From 1 to 10, with 1 being low and 10 being high, how are you doing today, right now? All right? And now next, I want you to write a second number, rating yourself on 1 to 10 where you want to be. And now look at the difference between those two numbers. I'm going to estimate it'll take you that many weeks to get as good as you want to get. So I caution you, don't try and go from a 2 to a 10, because that'll be 8 weeks of full-time work in becoming an amateur digital marketer. You don't want to improve that much from what I tell you in this webinar. But what I can tell you is some easy steps to take over the next couple of weeks to go from a 6 to a 9, or from a 3 to a 5. From a 3 to an 8, it's kind of a stretch, but you can spend 5 weeks working on the things that I'm going to give you, and you can do that. I just want to set your expectations realistically so that you know what you're getting into. All right? Well, now that you know what's coming up, let's look at what we're doing this for. We want you to be completely booked. We want people to call your clinic and say, hey, I'd like to schedule an appointment. And your response is going to be, the first available appointment I have is in X number of weeks, or X number of months, or X number of years. How long is that? I want you to write this down. Fill in the blank. When somebody calls your clinic, how long are you booked for? How far out are you stacked with appointments? Go ahead and write that goal down, so that way we know what we're aiming for. Okay? So now that we have that goal, we've got clear expectations, let's jump into 10 easy ways for naturopaths to get website leads. The first way that I'm going to tell you is to describe your new client intake process on your website. When somebody gets to your website, you want to guide them step by step through everything they need to do to become your customer. There's some easy ways you can do this. You can write it out from your perspective, but instead of just doing your own narrative, I want you to think about the clients that you've had in the past. What are they always asking for? What are the holdups in the process? Where do people get tripped up? What do you wish that every client knew before they came to see you? This is the kind of material that you want to give people while they're in a researching phase. I'm sure you've researched people online to determine whether or not you want to do business with them. When you're in that research phase, you're pretty sure you're going to do it. If that person, that service provider, can make an easy pathway for you to come and start a business relationship, it's much more likely that you're going to do it. So you can write out all the questions that you ever receive from new clients, write the answers to those questions, and then you have an FAQ, or frequently asked questions section. And you can put that FAQ onto a Start Here page. A Start Here page is great because when somebody first gets to your website, they don't know where you keep everything. They don't know where they're supposed to go or what they're supposed to do. But it's so calming to see Start Here when you're in that situation, because then you just go there and there's the step-by-step instructions that lets them know what they need to do. So this is the first way you can use your website to convert strangers into customers, is be very clear about how new clients get into doing business with you. The second way you can use your website to generate more leads is to host your intake forms on your website. And there's a few different ways to do this. I know we've got lots of privacy concerns because of the HIPAA Act, and in order to maintain HIPAA compliance, you don't want to store sensitive data. And so if you don't have SSL on your website, SSL is a secure website. It's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. If you don't have that S in your domain, then you probably shouldn't take any sensitive information. What you're going to want to do is to scan your new client intake forms, post them as PDFs, and instruct your new clients to download them, print them out, and fill them out by hand, and bring them in. And be sure and lay out step by step each one of those steps that people need to do. Download this form, click here. Print this out. Number 3, fill it out by hand. Number 4, bring it into the office. You want to be really clear on your Start Here page for what all the steps are. Now, if you do have a secure website, then there's some great things you can do with forms to ease that onboarding friction. You can use fillable PDFs so that people can type in their answers to the forms and upload it in a secure hosted form on your website. You can also have a secure form embedded in the website page so that people can simply fill out the form and hit submit, and then they receive an email with their answers and you receive an email with their answers. And there are ways to do this so that it's completely secure and HIPAA compliant. The third way you can use your website to generate leads is to talk about the problems that you treat instead of the solutions that you provide. Now, this seems counterintuitive, but I want you to think about things from your customer's perspective. They don't know what a Myers cocktail is, but they know that they're having symptoms. And so if they're going to search on Google to try and find somebody who can help them solve their problem, they're searching for their problem because they don't know what the solution is yet. It's a really common mistake when people are creating content for their website. They'll talk about the solution, but that's not what people are searching for. And that's not what makes them engage with a website. What makes them engage is when they see, oh, this is the problem I'm facing. This person knows how to treat my problem. So what I want you to do with your notebook right now is I want you to hit pause on this recording, and I want you to list the top 10 problems that you treat. In your client's words, what are the top 10 reasons they come to see you? Hit pause and go ahead and write those down right now. Okay? Now that you've done that exercise, you've got a list of potential blog posts, of potential newsletters, of potential page headings. These are the things that people are going to search for when they want to find somebody like you. This is how you find new people. You can talk to your own existing client base using one set of language. But when you're talking to new people who might not even know that they need a naturopath, but they need a solution, you'll need a different set of language to talk to them. And speaking in terms of the problem is one of the easiest ways to do that. And that'll also give you the material that you need to generate leads through organic SEO. SEO is as much of an art as it is a science, and you can go way deep down this rabbit hole. And so I want to caution you from spending too much time worrying about your SEO. What I usually recommend to my clients is simple setup. If you set up a few key things simply and correctly, then you won't have to go down that rabbit hole. The easiest formulas that you can use are your city or town plus a problem, and you have a list of 10 of those problems now from the exercise we just did. And you can also do state plus therapy. If you combine a geography with another keyword that somebody is searching for, that's a really good, useful thing to target because that is frequently how people search. Keep in mind, that list of 10 things that you wrote them down in your phrase, the way that you would search for things. The way that your future customers are going to search for things is different. And you can do a lot of keyword research to find out how are people specifically searching for these kinds of things. But I caution you against that because it's a rabbit hole. If you want to know the general basics, city plus problem and state plus therapy are really easy formulas that typically are easy to rank for, even for new clinics. There are tools that you can use to measure your search rankings, and I recommend going and poking around a little bit, but don't spend too much time because remember, we don't want you to become an amateur digital marketer or an amateur SEO consultant. We want you to be a professional naturopath because that's where your greatest skill set lies. So you only need to know the basics here. If you find yourself going down the rabbit hole, ask yourself, is this really what I want to be doing? Now, if you do a basic amount of research, you can find some keywords that are easy to rank for or that people are searching a lot for. And if you just get a list of 10 keyword phrases that you want to target this year, that's all you need to do. You can go that far and stop, okay? Once you have those 10 keyword phrases, then you know what to put in the titles of your blog posts. You know what to put in the headings of the different sections of the articles you write. And there's one other tip I'm going to give you because it's actually pretty easy to do. Anytime you upload an image to a post, there's something in there called an alt tag or alt text. And it's this little field that in WordPress, which is what most of the websites that I make are in WordPress, when you upload an image, there's this empty field for alt text. And if you know what those 10 phrases are, it's really easy to just type it in right there. And if you make that an easy habit, you put your keyword phrases in the alt text, you use those phrases in headings, and you use them in titles, that simple habit can help your organic SEO very naturally, and it's not a lot of effort. So while SEO is one of the most potent ways to get leads through your website, I caution you against spending too much time on it because you could do just a few easy things that get you 80% of the results. One of my clients has got a great local SEO presence. She ranks really well for Bozeman Naturopath. If you type that keyword phrase into Google, you'll see that she is, in the organic results, she's number 1 and number 2 for her clinic, Spring Integrative Health. And she was a great client to work with. We did a really phenomenal job on the design of her site, and we made it so that it was really inviting. When people come to her website, they see, oh wow, this looks like the type of clinic I would like to be a part of. These are the people that I would want to heal me. And so the visual design of the website was really fun to work on, and the SEO has been really effective. Now, the next way that you can use your website to generate leads is through a testimonials page. A testimonials page has a number of different advantages. Primarily, when you've got a new client who's looking at your website, they're researching you, deciding, is this somebody that I'm going to trust enough with my body? Do I want to call this person and talk to them? Am I going to download this form? While they're making that decision, giving them social proof of people who have already gone through the process they're considering, and they had a great experience, that's a really solid way to help somebody make the decision, yes, I want to contact this person. Never underestimate the power of testimonials. Often, I'm sure you've seen it yourself, you've been researching somebody online or deciding on whether or not to buy a product, and you read a testimonial. and somebody says that they were facing this problem and this product solved it for them, and if that's exactly where you are, you're facing that problem and you want that solution, the testimonial can make that decision for you. I also like a testimonials page because of its archive capability. If you can get an easy method to always ask for testimonials at the same point, so that you don't have to think about it and you don't have to get anxious about, should I do it now? How am I going to ask? You just make it a process. When somebody finishes their third appointment, or when somebody decides that they're going to pay for another round of treatments, wherever the point is in your process, decide where that is and decide how you're going to ask. For me, in my business, I ask for testimonials when somebody says, wow, and thank you, in the same sentence. When I hear those two phrases, wow and thank you, in whatever variation they are, that's my cue. And I say, hey, I'm so glad that you're happy with the work that I've created for you. I'd like to include what you've just said as a testimonial on my website. Would that be okay? And then I just take notes on what they said and work with them on making it a nice little paragraph. Then I put it on my testimonials page immediately. And because I have a process, I've collected a large number of testimonials. And anytime I'm creating a piece of content, whether it's a newsletter or a brochure or anything where I want a testimonial, I know exactly where to go to get it. And this is what makes it really powerful, is when you have an archive of all of your testimonials, it makes it really easy for you to grab one when you need one. So the sixth way that your website can generate leads for you is by telling a story. We don't want to see bulleted lists of what you can do. We want to see a story of somebody who faced a problem and then overcame that problem. This is going to get somebody to call. This is going to get somebody to click. If you can tell a story, then they can see their own problem being solved through this story. This is why we teach kids with stories. We don't teach them with manuals. We don't teach them by giving them a list of bulleted items that they need to memorize. We tell them stories. And it's through the story that we can learn the moral and that we can see a way forward for ourselves to participate in our story. Stories also make really good blog posts. They make really good newsletters. And if you tell the story of somebody who was facing a significant problem and they came to your clinic and they had a set of treatments and then they achieved this solution, that's the story that makes a really good article for print magazines, which are hungry for content nowadays. If you have any print magazines in your geographic area that are still in business, I can tell you honestly, they are hungry for content. And if you have a story that you've written up into a case study, putting that in a press release is actually a really good way to generate leads through your website. And I'll tell you why after I tell you about the monthly newsletter. A lot of clients that I work with are intimidated by their monthly newsletter. A lot of naturopaths, they have a lot of knowledge and they have a lot to share. And so they think that sending a newsletter out means that they have to have a lot of different sections. They got to include a recipe and a story and an event and a testimonial and a new provider profile and the description of this service that nobody's using and all of this stuff. And you're spending so much time and effort on the monthly newsletter and you don't need to. I'm telling you, from somebody who has measured the effectiveness of monthly newsletters for more than a decade throughout his career, you do not need all these sections in your newsletter. You need one story. It takes a whole lot less time to send out a simple newsletter, and it is even more effective in terms of open rates, in terms of click-through rates, and in terms of conversion. A simple newsletter works better, and it's easier on you. So if you have this gargantuan newsletter that's got 8 sections in it, split it into 8 pieces, and then you've got 8 newsletters for the next 8 months. Make it easy on yourself. So that's my little rant on why you shouldn't work too hard on your monthly newsletter. However, I want to bring this back to why this is going to generate leads for your website. Even if somebody doesn't open your newsletter, just seeing your name in their inbox, that serves as a soft touch. It reminds them who you are, what you do, and why you're amazing. And if they're facing any health issue, or if it's been a long time since their last appointment, just seeing your name in the inbox without even opening the newsletter, that will remind them, oh yeah, I got to go schedule another appointment. I'll go ahead and do that now. So it's not the opening or the clicking that converts for you. You don't sell through your newsletter. You remind through your newsletter. A newsletter also gives an easy way for people to share resources that they have, resources like you. And so if they know somebody who's facing an issue and that happens to be the subject line, they'll forward your newsletter on over and say, hey, you got to go see the doctors over here. They'll do really well with you. So newsletters are a great method to keep your current list engaged and to grow your list, but it doesn't need to be a huge production burden on you. The 8th way that you can use your website to generate leads is through hosting an event. Hosting an event in person at your clinic is going to get people in the door, and often that's all we need to get people engaged and keep them engaged. But where the real power lies with generating leads from your website is when you make a post promoting your upcoming event on your blog. And then you write a little press release and you send it over to your local publications. You list it in local event directories. You get backlinks, okay? This is the secret purpose of hosting events at your clinic, is that you can have geographically significant, timely events that other websites will link to. As you may know, your SEO ranking is partially determined by how many websites are linking back to you. And if they can link back to you with anchor text, with the text that it says in the hyperlink, that is your city plus event, then that's going to do really good for your ranking in any phrase that has the name of your city. So hosting events is great for building community, and it's great for getting people in the door. But if you use it properly, and you list posts that promote the event in advance, and you link back to those URLs from other websites, it can also be a big advantage for your SEO as well. Now, the 9th method I'm going to give you to use your website to increase your leads is to host a subscription raffle. People have to subscribe to your newsletter in order to get a $50 gift card or a free treatment or a discount on supplements or whatever prize you determine. And one of my clients has an iPad right by her front office desk, so that when people are filling out forms, there's this friendly little sign. And I made this app, so you press the button on the page and it just opens up to the subscription page. And people just put in their name and email address, subscribe to the newsletter, and they're entered in the raffle. Once a month, they pick one of the new subscribers, they send them a free gift, and it's an easy way for them to build their list. And then they're keeping in touch with those people month after month, year after year. The final way I'm going to give you that you can use your website to generate leads is to have a free 30-minute phone consultation and have the button right up in the header in the upper right. Call now. And you can do this in a website where you can click the button and the computer will actually call them. There's a simple coding way to get that set up. And I can talk with you about that during our free consultation. I happen to give free consultations as well. I've been doing this for more than 10 years. And that's most of my onboarding process, is I talk to any entrepreneur who has a business and a website and some questions. I'll get on the phone with anybody for 30 minutes for free, just to tell them what I can, to help answer questions. And then every 1 to 2 to 3 of those, they say, hey, I've got this project. Do you want to work with me on it? And it's a really easy way for people to feel me out, see if we're a match, and find out how much expertise does this person have. And that's what you can do too. If you've got clients who are facing an issue and you spend 20 minutes on the phone with any stranger, as long as they tell you clearly what their symptoms are, you can give them some good advice. That free advice is some of the best advertising that you can do because it's personal, it's customized. It makes a person feel like they've gotten something of value. And as reciprocal beings, when we feel like we've gotten something of value, we want to give back. And so if you give somebody free advice that helps them improve their life, there's nobody else that they're going to see when they need more therapy, when they need more advice. They're going to come right back to the person who helped them before because there's an unspoken obligation there. So I highly encourage you to set aside some calendar time. You can just have 3 a week, 3 30-minute slots every week where people can call for a free consultation and they can schedule them in advance. You can even do it via email. And when people schedule these blocks, these are going to be your new customers. And so I think that this is one of the best ways that you can use your website to convert new clients. It works for me. It's worked for my clients that are naturopaths. And it's a great way to build relationships. And that's really what clients are, is their relationships. So if you want to generate more leads through your website, think about them as budding relationships. And how can you nurture that relationship and help it grow? So now I'm going to challenge you to hit pause on this webinar and to Google your clinic. And don't just do a navigational search. A navigational search is when you type in the name of your clinic. And hopefully you rank for number 1 on the name of your clinic. And that's often what a lot of people who find you through Google, what they do. They do a navigational search because they already know your name. They just need to find your website. But let's look beyond navigational searches. Those phrases that you wrote down earlier, that formula I gave you of city plus problem, Google some of those. See how you rank. See if you're on page 1 for any of those. And if you are, make note. If you're number 5 for a specific formula, make note of that phrase. Pay more attention to it. Write more about that phrase. I did that with another one of my clients who is a naturopath in Bend. And I told him when we started working together that I was not going to get him to the top of page 1 because one of his competitors has the website bendnaturopath.com. And I just said, there's no way we can do it. And so we focused instead on peripheral searches. We did a lot of work on Central Oregon. We did a lot of work on the therapies that he provided because Bend is a pretty holistically minded community, and a lot of the people there, they know what types of therapies they want. And so we were able to focus more on the therapy name than on the problem. And so that worked really well. And his website used to be really clunky. It was an HTML website. And it was this wide, whether you looked at it on a desktop computer or on a mobile phone. And so you had to scroll left and right to do that. Now, as you may know, Google is penalizing those sites in search results, so that if your website is not mobile responsive, it's not going to rank as high in search results. And so we made him a responsive website. This is what it looks like on a desktop. It looks different on a mobile, so that those 2 columns become 1. And we rearranged a lot of the content so it works a lot better for his SEO. So now I offer a free website assessment to you for getting this far in the webinar. But even if you don't take me up on this free website assessment, I challenge you to try onboarding yourself with your website. Go to your website as somebody who doesn't know you, doesn't know naturopathy, and doesn't know how to solve their problem. And ask yourself, step by step, what are they able to do? And what are they not able to do? Make note of everything that a new client is not able to do on your website. And then you have a task list of the things that you can do to improve your website to generate more leads. I hope this has been helpful for you, and if you'd like to speak with me more, I'd love to have a digital strategy session with you. You can click on the button below or go to the URL on your screen. This has been really good to talk to you. My name is Caelan Huntress, the web designer behind Wellness Website Design, and I hope that after what you've learned in this presentation that you get noticed, get called, and get more clients. Good luck out there.